Hey guys, John V here with PhoneArena, and this is a quick hands-on look at the Moto G6 and the G6 Play. Borrowing some of the new design aesthetics introduced by its sibling in the Moto X4, both the Moto G6 and G6 Play are redesigned with glass finishes and rounded edges that make them utterly stunning for their price points. However, it should be noted that the G6 technically is wrapped in 3D Gorilla Glass 3, while the Moto G6 Play is covered in 3D polymer glass. Now, to tell you the truth, it's really difficult to tell apart the two kinds of materials, but Corning's glass will still offer the superior protection. With the new designs, they're accompanied with 3.5mm headphone jacks and P2Y water-repellent coatings that'll safeguard them from minor splashes. Considering their mid-range devices and all, it's well that the designs of the phones have taken a more premium approach, but at the same time, the glass surfaces makes them somewhat more fragile. Going with the trends we've seen in the industry for the last year, both handsets now feature displays with 18:9 screen aspect ratios. Specifically, the Moto G6 is fashioned with a 5.7-inch 1080p Full HD Plus Max Vision display, while the Moto G6 Play is donning a 5.7-inch 720p HD Plus Max Vision display. Indeed, there's a detail superiority on paper with the Moto G6's display, but it's really tough to discern when you're looking at two from normal distances. In our short time checking the two out, we're entranced by the sheer iridescence of the two displays, as colors pop with some serious saturation to really get our attention. Viewing angles too seem pretty decent, as they don't seem to distort all that much. And finally, they're able to output a reasonable amount of brightness in the bright conditions we were checking them out in. Diving into the software running the two phones, they're both running a mostly stock Android 8.0 Oreo experience, so at least peers will be happy to see that out of the box. Naturally, being Moto branded smartphones, you could expect to find many of Moto's signature features that we've come to appreciate, from the vast Moto actions at our disposal to the Moto display that breathes useful information. There's really nothing out of the ordinary that we haven't seen before. Although, with the Moto G6, new Moto actions allow us to leverage the fingerprint sensor for one-touch navigation. Behind the scenes, the Moto G6 is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 450 processor, coupled with 3GB of RAM or 4GB depending on the unit, and the Adreno 506 GPU. It'll be available in either 32 or 64GB capacities. Meanwhile, the Moto G6 plays packing a Qualcomm Snapdragon 427 processor, either 2 or 3GB of RAM, the Adreno 308 GPU, and either 16 or 32GB of storage. Now, both smartphones also feature microSD card slots for storage expansion, and while basic functions seem to perform fine in our quick assessment, they're not really meant to handle processor-intensive things like gaming, but they can still probably do that to an extent if you're willing to accept slightly choppier frame rates. Now, if you're really obsessive about taking photos and videos, then you'll probably want to go with the Moto G6, primarily because of the dual camera implementation there, which boils down to a 12MP and 5MP camera paired with an f1.8 aperture lens. Now, this combination naturally allows the phone to capture portrait shots that blur the background with bokeh. In addition to that, the camera is tweaked with additional features such as landmark recognition, text scanning, spot color, and face filters to keep you occupied. Conversely, the Moto G6 Play is only accompanied by a single 13MP camera with an f2.0 aperture lens and face detection autofocus. Not surprisingly, its camera features are a bit more reserved, limited to things like slow motion, panorama, and manual mode. In the battery department, however, it's the Moto G6 Play that's graced with the beefier 4000mAh battery cell, which should deliver great longevity considering it's only dealing with a 720p plus display. As for the Moto G6, there's a 3000mAh battery inside of its body, which we're kinda curious to see how it performs given the significantly smaller capacity. Price-wise, they're going to be positioned at a relatively sweet spot for being classified as mid-rangers. We're told that the Moto G6 will come in at $250 when it arrives, while the Moto G6 Play gets the discounted price of $200. Now, looking at the two price points, the $50 difference separating the two might not seem all that much, but given how the Moto G6 seems to have the more robust package, like its dual camera system, faster processor, and higher resolution display, there's absolutely more value accompanying that extra $50. So far, there's no word on when we'll see them launch, but it shouldn't be too long from now. So if you guys want to learn more about the Moto G6 and Moto G6 Play, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V, signing off.